But you don't have to be a white supremacist to cling to old ideas about race. A lot of people still believe race is a reasonable way of sorting out our species.
Americans believe that there are these three races: Caucasians, Mongoloids, and Negroids, or, whites, blacks, and Asians. They believe that these are three distinct biological groups, and we know that's not true.
But many of us were taught that there were three races, and looking around, it may seem true.
Well, the problem with race is that it's largely an optical illusion. What I see with my own eyes isn't what's actually out there. It looks like there may be three kinds of people, discretely different out there, but the fact is that's not really what's out there in nature.
What's out there in nature is one human race. But the idea that distinct races exist is difficult to debunk for a very simple reason. People look different. The human form is miraculous in its variety. But does different add up to race? Think of it this way. What if we say that a race is a group of people with a common ancestry, who look alike and maybe have certain genetic traits in common? Sounds simple enough. But then, what if we take a random group of red-headed people and leave them on an island for a long time? As the generations tick by, they would look more and more alike. Soon, they would find themselves with certain hereditary diseases, traits, and gene combinations in common. All the things we generally think of as making up a race. But the fact is, the island of the redheads is not a race. It's simply an isolated gene pool. And the truth is, any isolated population, red-headed or not, will start to look a lot alike, given enough time, simply because they are related. And that group will look different from other groups. But just how different are we? The fledgling science of genetics can shed some new light on the question. Recent findings show us that the genes of every single human being are more than 99% identical. Genetically, we are far more similar than most species. For example, our closest animal relatives, chimpanzees, have 3 or 4 times the amount of genetic variation seen in people. In humans, there's just not enough variation to qualify any group as a subspecies.
We don't recognize the existence of subspecies in the human species, and the reason for that is that it doesn't seem to be there empirically. If you actually study what humans look like in the Aboriginal world, you don't find a few major divisions of people.
We are all Homo sapiens sapiens, one species with no subgroups. This is not unique in the animal kingdom. Many species are without subspecies. This doesn't mean that they all look alike. The domestic cat comes in every color of the rainbow, all of them exactly the same species. And the same is true for humans. Scientists now believe that human differences are merely superficial. We look different for 3 basic reasons. Some features change because of purely random genetic mutations. Sometimes new genes are introduced through conquest or trade. Other differences are believed to be evolutionary adaptations to the environment. For example, light-colored skin may have developed because it can absorb more vitamin D in regions with fewer hours of sun. Dark skin seems to protect against skin cancer in sunny tropical climates. Curly hair may occur more often in warmer climates because it allows heat to escape. Conversely, straight hair seems to help conserve warmth in colder regions. But if human differences are only skin deep, how do we explain why race is so important in the modern world? When people are treated differently because of insignificant differences, race acquires meaning. The idea of race is deeply embedded in our cultures and our psyches. We share a street-level understanding of what the word means. If you stop people and ask them what race they are, they do know what you're talking about.
So I'm Mexican.
I usually say Asian because I'm from China.
And if someone asks whatever race I am, just tell them I'm Portuguese. Nothing to be ashamed of.
Kind of obvious. So
I get confused. They confuse me for a Filipino a lot.
I guess white, European American, if anyone uses that term.
I'm actually half Chinese and half Vietnamese, but my typical response would be Chinese. That's because I identify with that part of my heritage more.
Socially and politically, race has become an important concept. We use it to mean everything from skin color to ancestry to culture.